So hey guys, I hope you guys are having a great day. And as always, I love last night's episode of Orphan Black, and I hope you guys did too. And a lot of different things happened, so I think we have quite a few things to talk about today. But first of all, I just want to say hi to you guys and girls who are already in the room. And if you haven't said hey yet, say hey, and I'll give you a shout out. So hey to Abigail, Vanessa, rock music, and I know Ben is coming, but he might not have made it yet. So thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to read some of your comments now, but of course, Helena and Allison were both in the episode, so that made me really happy because they're my two favorite twins, so I love that. And I also thought it was interesting to see one of the Castor twins in this episode. And if you watch the show that comes on after Orphan Black, at least it does in Canada and the US, it's called After the Black. The guy who plays the Castor twins was the special guest this week, so it was really cool to hear from him and see his interview. Okay, so hi Tony, thank you so much for being here. I agree with rock music about Felix's birth sister. I don't think that she's his sister, honestly. I think there's something going on there. And I just thought it was really weird. Like, she has like a southern accent, but it seemed really fake. Now, I don't know if that's because the actress is just bad at doing that accent, or if she's faking the accent because she's faking being his sister. That's kind of what I'm wondering about. So go ahead and post in the comments like your thoughts about this episode. Excuse me. And like, what were your favorite parts about the episode? Any kind of predictions that you have? So we saw Rachel. I was looking at my notes over here. So we saw Rachel, and she's getting treatments for her eye that was stabbed. So it's going to look like a normal eye pretty soon. We also saw the little girl clone, and we realized that the little girl clone has the same disease that a lot of the clones develop, like the one that Cosima has. But the sad thing is she's developed it so young, and I just feel like that might be because they've done this thing so many times that maybe the clones are not being made as strong, and they're developing sicknesses like when they're pretty young. So I feel really bad for her, and I don't know. I mean, obviously Kasima is still alive and she has to take medication, I guess, but I don't know how much longer this little girl will live. Like, I don't know if that's going to shorten her life, or if she'll, if she won't live much longer. I don't know. I just thought that was pretty sad. I absolutely loved Helena and Donnie, as Vanessa was saying, when the detectives came to their house and she had to pretend to be Allison. Of course, I felt like that was just freaking hilarious. I love when she offered the people bread. She was like, "Can I offer you any breads?" Like, she just says the most awkward, crazy things. On the other hand, I thought it was a really touching moment when she was talking to Sarah and she was talking about her twins, and she was like, "I just hope they don't end up like me." And, I think that Helena is really crazy, but I think she has a good heart, and I just thought that was really sweet for her to say that. And like we talked about last week, I don't know who's going to end up taking care of these twins. Maybe she will be able to. I don't know if she can, because most of the time she's insane. I mean, she had food like all over the floor again in this episode. So I don't know if she's capable of being like a strong person and a good mother to the kids. But if not, I hope like Allison and Donnie will raise them, because I know they would do a really good job with it. I actually haven't seen their adopted kids much or at all this season. So maybe they've been in school. Hi, Ben. Thank you so much for being here. I thought it was a really crazy scene with the dentist, or the dental assistant, who was supposed to be a friend to Beth, but she was actually, I guess, working for Dr. Leakey and kind of was part of his squad, or was, working for him in some way. And she totally, was backstabbing who she thought was Beth, who was actually Sarah, and was going to probably kill her. So thankfully that guy, who's actually a villain, and I can't remember his name. Let me know if you guys know his name. But the guy came in, and like, that was so out of the blue to me. He came in and slit her throat, but he saved Sarah's life. So that was awesome. Was the daughter on yesterday? How do I miss things? So apparently the adopted daughter of Allison and Donnie's was on, and I just somehow didn't see her. So yeah, I was really scared. Okay, Ferdinand is the guy. Vanessa's awesome. You remember everything. Ferdinand was the guy who was, he's not really a good guy, but he did save Sarah's life in this instance, and it was a really scary moment. I mean, at first I was like, okay, this woman's going to help her, but honestly, when she started like closing up the dentist's office and like looking out the window, it was just really suspicious to me. And I was like, oh, I think there's something up with this woman. She just didn't seem trustworthy at that point. So I is still very scary because Sarah still has that worm in her mouth, and I don't know. I'm hoping they can find someone. I know that Art is trying to find someone, but I'm hoping that they can find someone to get it out and, you know, not hurt her at all. And like I've said before, I don't think that they will kill her off because she's the main character of the show, the main clone. So I don't see them killing her, but I don't know. Also, we got nothing from Delphine, and the rumors circulating around the internet, and what I believe anyway is that she's still alive. So I don't know what the deal is with that and why they are waiting so long to tell us what is up with her, which I thought was kind of interesting. So Rock Music says the lady and Sarah at the dentist was gross when she was doing things to her teeth. Yeah, and I thought it was pretty scary when they put that contraption in Sarah's mouth to like open up her mouth so that she could operate on her. And I was like, that's pretty scary because I've had some, you know, dental work done and they didn't put like that kind of thing in my mouth, at least I don't think. But I thought that was really creepy. It looked like some kind of torture device. So Ben says, liked it when Allison and Donnie told Cosima that Donnie had killed Leaky. Cosima's reaction was priceless. I love that. That was a really good moment. They're basically talking over like FaceTime, I guess. And it was just awesome. I just think the scenes with Donnie, anything with Donnie, Allison, and then when you add Helena, like I'm so glad Helena's living with them because the three of them are just such a great trio and they crack me up and I love them. It was crazy that they had to dig Dr. Leaky out of the garage and he smelled so bad and that was making them sick and it cracked me up. But I don't know. It's just so crazy to me. I still can't believe, okay, it was Skype. Thank you. I still can't believe that, Donnie actually killed Dr. Leaky, and I know like no one would ever think that would happen, especially like Cosima. So yes, very funny. I love them so much. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. When do you guys think they'll tell us about Delphine? And do you agree with me that she's still alive? Because that's pretty much what I think. So another thing, I'm just looking over the notes that I took last night. The guy who was basically the mole, I didn't realize he was still working at the police station, and Art knows that something's up with that because he's watching like that video from Beth's apartment and he sees like that bad guy, he doesn't really know he's a bad guy, but he knows something's up. He sees that he like came to her apartment and they had some kind of discussion, and so Art confronts him and he was like, it was a little bit odd that you visited her at home, and he was like, I was just worried about her. So I think he's going to get to the bottom of that. I don't think he knows he's a bad guy, right? Or am I wrong? They've done so many like back and forth with the timeline that I'm not sure if he realized or found out that guy's bad news, but let me know. But I just thought it was cool how he called the guy out at the police station. So Rock Music says, I wonder what is going on with Sarah's daughter. That's another thing we need to discuss. Kira, she is not being very nice. She was being pretty rude in this week's episode. And I really don't know. I know she has like the special powers and everything. She's just, you know, she can do things other kids can't. But she wasn't nice to the guy who was playing the game with her, and she just seemed to be fed up with everything. So I don't know if they're going somewhere with that or what's going on with her, but that's kind of strange. Vanessa says, I really thought that Helena was going to the garage to sneak around. I was really proud of Helena, and I really have no clue how she remembered the people who worked on Allison's campaign. I mean, she really came through for Allison and Donnie, and sometimes she can act like a grown-up and a normal person, and that was that time. Now, I don't know if she's ever going to be able to do that again, but I was so proud of her for keeping it together while the detectives were there. I mean, she did say some a little strange, she said a few strange things, but mostly she kept it together and did a good job. Ben says, I think that they'll wait a while to tell us about Delphine to try and keep us on edge. Probably. I agree. And Kira acted really weird this episode, says Ben. He says, I reckon. That's cute. Where are you from, Ben? That her dream thing will come true. Yeah, remind me about the dream. Somehow I've forgotten that as well. So yes, as Vanessa's saying, we didn't see any MK in this episode at all. She was mentioned because the guy who knows her, Sarah, went to talk to him because she's trying to figure out how to contact her. But we didn't see her. And I know she's going to be a big player in this season, but I really don't know why she wasn't in this episode. Maybe she'll be in next week's episode. Let's see. What else do we need to discuss from this week's episode? We might have talked about all the main points so far. Well, so the woman, the Duncan woman, I guess people had thought she was dead and now she's alive, who is hanging out with Rachel, and Rachel obviously doesn't like her. Some of this stuff, honestly, starts to blend. There's so many characters. Anyway, for me. Ben, okay, so you're from the UK. Well, it is a thing that people say here. Say instead of I think, people would say I reckon, but to be honest, it's a thing that's like a southern phrase. So the southern part of the US. So yeah, I just didn't know that it was like, I guess you're British, right? I didn't know it was like a British thing, which is cool. I didn't know that. That is cool. But I like to see Rachel. I really enjoy her accent, which may not be a big deal to you guys, but it's so pretty. And it reminds me of the characters in Downton Abbey, which was one of my favorite shows. And I know she's like shady. I mean, I know that, but I just think that I don't know. I just think she's so classy. Like, I don't like her, but I do kind of enjoy having her around. And again, like Tatiana, I just don't know how she does it. Like, how does she do that? I really think that she is all these people. Like, I don't think, oh, that's Tatiana playing Cosima. I think that's like, I almost think they're all separate actresses, you know? So it like blows my mind. So it was cool to see a caster clone, and to me he was new, but if he's been in it before, that caster clone, let me know, because like I said, I do seem to have a little bit of trouble keeping every character straight in this show because there's so many. Like, I get some things mixed up because I feel like it's one of the more difficult shows to keep up with, at least for me. But yeah, he was kind of whatever. Like, he didn't really have a big personality. He wasn't like mean or evil. He was just, at least for now, he was just kind of there. But I like, you know, I kind of like that character, or as far as I like the clones from the guy clones. So it was interesting. Yeah, I think he's new. And it was cool if any of you got to see the after show to see the guy who plays, I think, all of these clones talk, because it was just weird to see, like, because he had a different personality than the ones that we've seen. So it was so weird to see him actually talking, being himself. Rock music feels kind of bad for Rachel because she's shown her human side. Yeah, I feel bad for her in a way. And I know, like I said, I don't think she's a good person really, but there's something kind of likable about her, I guess. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen to her. I feel like she will be able to. I mean, she's still having a lot of different issues. She doesn't really walk and everything. So I feel like eventually, when she can be strong and walk okay on her own, then she will do something and play a big role in the show, but I'm not really sure what that something will be. Ben says Rachel's eye test looked kind of horrible when they injected that stuff into her eye. It was kind of gross. Yeah, it definitely was, but I also thought it was pretty cool that they can take, I guess she has a bionic eye, and they can take it and inject those things, and it's going to look like a human eye. So I was like, that is really cool. I just thought that was one of the cool things about this episode. So, I'm trying to think, like, I was glad that Cosima didn't have any kind of medical issues in this episode. I always am worried that something bad's going to happen to her, and thankfully she's still going. I mean, I really thought, like, after last season, or I thought during last season, she was probably going to die, so I'm super happy that she's still with us. And I just wonder also what's going to happen with the people from the, I guess, the auto garage people, the people that Helena killed. Like, what's going to happen with that? Are they going to blame Donnie and Allison, or are they going to figure out? I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that? Because it was interesting that that was brought back up in this episode, and I wonder if the detectives are going to keep bugging them or what. We talked a little bit about Felix's birth sister, Ben, but you can go ahead and give me your opinion about her. I personally think that she is not his real sister, and she seemed very, very fake to me. And she seemed like she wanted to have like everything in common with him. I don't know. I think Felix is like overly trusting and really wants it to be his sister, so he's just going to accept and not be smart about it and not think it all through. So what do you think about it, Ben? Do I think Ferdinand is a villain or not? Asked Vanessa. I have always thought he was a villain, but I honestly don't know at this point, because obviously he saved Sarah's life, but I'm not sure why he did it. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you think he's a villain, or do you think he's actually going to be helpful to Sarah? Because I'm not sure about that. But yeah, I mean, so far I love it. It's just kind of like, it's not a show where you're always trying to figure something out or theorize, and that's okay, because a lot of the stuff that I watch is. But I think the characters are basically, you know, not Tatiana is a big part of this, but I just feel like they're so entertaining, and the show always makes me laugh, even though it's not a comedy, that it just really is enjoyable to watch. Ben thinks that she's going to die, and Felix will be sad, but then he'll find out she wasn't his sister. Hate that Sarah and him got into an argument over it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what her deal is. Like, I don't know if she's like working for, I think Sarah was really worried that she was working for the Neos or something, or she was like a spy. Maybe that's too easy, but I don't know what her deal is. But I'm kind of worried for him as well, because he will be like really upset if something happens to her, especially if he doesn't realize it's not his sister. But I think he'll figure it out if something does happen, and I think he won't feel as bad if she ends up, you know, being a liar. Vanessa thinks that he's playing it both ways, and we're talking about Ferdinand here. So yeah, I'm not really sure, but I don't trust him. I would just say I don't trust him 100%. So, because he doesn't have a good track record, so I can't completely trust him at all. Yeah, so I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to talk about that we haven't talked about in this episode, or any kind of theories that you have for this season? Vanessa thinks that Ferdinand is trying to get to Rachel by tricking everyone. Yeah, I could see that, definitely. I think that's a good idea, Vanessa. I think definitely that he is trying to look like a hero, and of course he did save Sarah's life, and then he might find Rachel because of it, because people are going to start trusting him again. I can definitely see that happen. So yes. Yeah, I don't know what to do about these live shows for Orphan Black, because like right now there's 5 people watching. So I don't know if I'm going to keep having them. I know some of you guys really enjoy them, but it may just be a thing where I just keep doing the videos, just because it's hard when there's just like a few people, or like especially less than 10. So I'm going to have to think about that for next week. Maybe it'll just be better just to do the videos, and you guys can leave me the comments, just because this show doesn't seem to be as popular with some people, maybe because it's in its 4th season and some people that watch my videos have never watched it. I don't know. So Ben says, I think Ferdinand is like the evil guy that you have to be sometimes, that you have to sometimes let them help you for their greater good, but he's not to be trusted. Yeah, I think that's a really good way of looking at it. Like, he really needed to step in that moment, and thankfully he saved Sarah's life, but it's not like we can trust him all the time. That's absolutely what I think. So honestly, at this point, I don't know what else there is to talk about with this episode, just being completely honest. But if you want to, in the next couple minutes, let me know if there's something we haven't discussed or a theory that you have. Leave that right now. Poland is here. Hi, Poland. Haven't watched this episode yet, so won't be joining the show. Okay, good. Now's a good time to get out, because you definitely don't want to hear a spoiler. I just want to take the opportunity to say, if this is the first time you've ever seen me or seen my channel, and you're an Orphan Black fan or a fan of mystery shows, I would love it if you would thumbs up this video and also subscribe, because I love mystery shows. I love trying to figure out what's going to happen in them, and to kind of talk to you guys and we figure it out together. So I think that is always fun when we have a new member or a new person to join the Kelly TV family. So basically, I'm just going to wrap this up a little bit early today, and to let you guys know, I'll make a decision this week if I want to keep doing live shows, just because I'd like to have at least 10 people come to them, and maybe there's a better day we could do them. I'm not really sure, but I just feel like with just 2 or 3 people talking, we could definitely do that on the videos, instead of doing 2 separate things for this show. So we'll have to see. Dead of Summer is a good show to chat about, which is coming on Freeform. Vanessa was telling me about, so I will look into that. And Rock Music says, what if Rachel kills her mom, then got out of the place she's in, or killed? So is her mom the Duncan woman? Because I get confused about who she is. Ben thinks that Helena will maybe kill someone else before she gives birth, and the Hendricks won't trust her with the babies. Yeah, I really don't see her raising those babies, and I really hope that Donnie and Allison will be the ones who will raise them. So, and I just hope that they're born and everything's okay with them, because, like I said, I just don't really trust the guy who's the father, that crazy religious man who was insane, who was like a cult leader. So hopefully everything's going to be okay with them. Okay, I'll check it out, Vanessa. Thank you so much for letting me know. But I think I'll just wrap this up here, and I'll let you guys know on Twitter. I'm Kelly_TV on Twitter, so I'll keep you updated about whether we'll keep doing the live chats, just because, not because I don't like talking to you guys, because I love it, but like with less than 10 people, it's kind of, there might not be a point in doing these. We can do the same thing like on the videos. So I will keep you updated. But I just want to thank you guys so much for coming today. And I know most of you have come to all of the Orphan Black chats, and that really makes me happy. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much, so that I'm not sitting here like talking to myself, because that would be super boring. But I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And my in-depth video on this week's episode will be up in the morning. So I hope you'll tune into that as well and leave me your thoughts and comments. And yeah, it is small, Ben, but thank you so much for being here. And Vanessa and Rock Music and Poland and everyone who was here tonight. I might have missed you, or maybe you didn't say hey, and that's totally fine. Some people don't want to comment. You just want to listen. That's completely fine. Tony was here. And I think Abigail might have been here a little earlier, or maybe is still here. So thank you guys so, so much. And I will see you tomorrow with my new video. So bye, guys.